Hey there. Books. That's what we're going to talk about. So, I'm dyslexic. Books have not always been my friend. I unfortunately really struggled in school to learn to read. And so, many years ago, after I'd started my business, I started reading leadership books. And in those leadership books, they talked about the fact that the best leaders read leadership books and they read biographies. They read a lot of nonfiction. And I remember, and like the book I was reading, in particular, the 2 or 3 that I read at the time, took months for me to get done. And I remember thinking, boy, they're funny. They weren't funny. They were really right. And I took that on as a challenge. After I laughed at myself a few times, I did look at my bookcase and noticed there were a lot of books on there, and I was not reading through them. And so that became the first year's book club list. I am now on year 14 of the book club. We read a book a month. Not everybody finishes it each month. Actually, there's been a couple of times I haven't finished the book that month. We all put in good effort and do our best. My point in reminding you is that even though I might be dyslexic and my reading might be slow, so many things have come along that I am no longer barred from accessing that wisdom, that insight, those experiences, and it's fabulous. So when I say reading, I read in the manner that I have a hardcover book that I'm reading with. I have a pencil and a highlighter. I'm probably writing even notes on the side, and I'm listening to it in an audio style. That's how I typically read. That's how I retain the most. I've learned that that's how I retain the most information. I pause at times, take a few notes, maybe on a separate sheet of paper. Like I really, for a lot of the books that we read, even the biographies, there's some really interesting quotes. There's just some really interesting processes people will use. It's pretty incredible. While I love television, I don't tend to retain that information quite the same as when I sit down with a book and really engage in that. So in celebration of that, right now is the time of year when I sit down and start to work on and work with the group on what's going to be our list for the next year. And I was just working on that and thought I hadn't shared this year's list. So that's what this week's article is about. This week, I'm celebrating books, and I am celebrating what lives within those books and encouraging you to go look at your bookshelf. What books haven't you read yet that you were going to read, and maybe set out a goal to have them done. That was another reason I am immensely grateful for the people in my book club, because without that accountability, I would easily not have finished a variety of books. Not because I didn't want to, not because sometimes because they were so good that I didn't want to miss anything. So I was listening to them so slowly and taking so many notes, but having that timeline that I need to get it done. Bring together a group of your friends that might want to listen to, read, however you read, some of these books. In doing this, another reason I did this was because I knew with my dyslexia, I had avoided reading. And thereby, I was not utilizing that muscle very much. And it was causing me to be a very slow reader. And I'd heard that it really can be helpful. And it's good for your memory and good for your brain to be growing that. And so by doing the audiobooks, and at times I just turn off the audio and I'll just cruise along. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to have my reading skills improve the way that they have over the years, and to have my vocabulary increase. Like there's so many pluses in taking on this challenge. If you are able to, I highly recommend. And if you're looking for some good books, please check out the article. I've put in there our 12 books from this year. Happy to answer any questions you might have about some of them. A little hint, this year was the first and only year I've ever on Goodreads put a 1-star review for a book. I've never done that, but we actually had a book this year that we all came together and nobody finished it. It was so not engaging and not right for our group, but we did our best. Everybody read different parts of it. We were able to have a really good conversation, but we laughed. We're like, this author was not for us, and across the board, it was still worthy of learning. So I'm Joy Gina, International Neurodiversity Coach. Read. That's my recommendation. If you want some ideas, check out my book list. And I'll be putting out next year, 2025's list, a little sooner to help you out. So have an awesome rest of your week. Check out my articles. Reach out to me if you need some coaching or want to learn more about my coaching. I really appreciate that, and have an awesome week.